Welcome to the Hot Lava Podcast. Kevin Acee, Padres beat writer for the Union-Tribune. Ryan Finley, sports editor of the Union-Tribune. I'm in Miami. Ryan is in San Diego. That's almost as far apart as you could be, but there's no baseball team in Maine. So this is about as far as we can be. Ryan, Padres took 2 or 3 from the Nationals. Coulda, shoulda. Kind of the story of the season. Coulda, shoulda been 3. They start the second half. It's pretty good. They showed some offense. Where would you like to start?
Right there. Is their offense improved or was their opponent just bad? To me, that's the big question coming out of that series.
Both. You should do what you did to the Nationals. You should do what you did to their bullpen. You probably should have done more. Then you did what you should do when a pitcher comes out and is struggling, like Mackenzie Gore, who just coming off his first All-Star game, 3.09 ERA. I mean, it's a good pitcher, had a bad day. You didn't let him off the hook. What I find fascinating is there are more starting pitchers than we know, like that are vulnerable like that. But they're vulnerable like that for a few batters. And if you swing at the wrong pitch and get them a break by popping out foul to the catcher, you might never get to find out how much they were going to struggle that day. And the Padres exploited Mackenzie Gore, and that was good.
Yeah, to me, that was as surprising a start to a game as I can remember. Here, to me, the game seemed really big. You're playing for a series against the second worst team in the National League. You're going up against their ace. You have your sort of de facto ace and Nick Pivetta going to ambush the Marlins for 5 in the first, highlighted by Xander Bogaerts' grand slam, the second grand slam of the series. I'm not sure I could have written that. It seemed so sort of far-fetched from my angle. Let's talk about Xander Bogaerts. Grand slam over the weekend, hitting in the 380s here recently. What is he doing differently, and what is working for him?
Yeah, 25 games I think it's a 102.3 OPS. Like you said, I think it is 380. Maybe it's 386. Anyway, it's very good over the last 25 games. And to me, we've passed from it being like this small sample size, which it sort of is, but you could even go back to 40 games and it's still over 300, right? And so now we're talking about more than almost a half, more than a third of this season. We're going to play game 100 tonight. The Padres are. He looks the same every time almost. He has settled into, and I ain't going to break it down, whatever mechanical thing he's doing, but Xander is always best when he's being aggressive, and that's to the ball. And you can kind of tell because he's got really good bat control and zone control. I'm not a coach, not a scout, but you can kind of tell when Xander's like late on the ball, like relying on that, or then he gets into these things where he's trying to pull the ball. And that's where you saw a lot of rollovers and it was pretty weak. Now, when he's pulling the ball, it's not because he's trying to pull the ball and he's shooting that ball through the left side or doubling on the line drive or the home run. Really, and I don't want to exclude, he is using all parts of the field, but I don't want Mike Schilt to get mad at me. Got to use all parts of the field. But that Xander is being Xander. I'm not saying anything more than that. It's just, this is the guy that you thought you were going to get. Not saying anything more than that. Not saying what it's worth. Not saying whether it's going to go on from now to eternity. Just saying this guy has been super good and super valuable for more than a month.
For more than a month. And, Kevin, we talk about it on this show all the time, but I think it bears repeating. We can talk till we're blue in the face about who's going to play left field for them or who's going to DH or who's going to catch. But the reality is the fastest and best way for them to improve is for their superstars to play like superstars. And Xander Bogaerts is playing more and more like a superstar every day.
Yep. And that's, you got him batting fourth, batting fifth, whatever. That's a really important thing. And especially when, and I'm not like, no matter what happens the rest of the season, Gavin Sheets has had a good season. based
Right.
on that you got him, a week before spring training on a minor league deal. He's making $1.6 million. And I'm not, look, there have been some times where I thought maybe Gavin Sheets was coming back to earth and he, continued to be this player, which is batting around 260, 750 plus OPS. But like, if Gavin Sheets is coming back to earth a little bit, good time for Xander. Look, we can also talk forever about the value of Fernando Tatis Jr., who almost pulled off one of the more remarkable things that only he and maybe Ellie De La Cruz and maybe I'm forgetting one other person could have done when he almost beat that rundown the other day. One of the Padres' failed chances. My point is, Fernando Tatis Jr. is super valuable. He's not being what he should be at the plate. So this is big what Xander Bogaerts is doing.
It is. And, you looked at yesterday, Jackson Merrill is scratched right before first pitch with an illness. You're putting Bryce Johnson as a quick aside. Bryce Johnson's hitting 3-something, which is, to me, he looks like a big league reserve, which is great. All of a sudden, you're putting Xander Bogaerts in the cleanup spot, right?
Yep.
Xander Bogaerts in the cleanup spot, hits you a grand slam in the first inning, and the Padres sort of run away with it and then end up winning the series. We may look back at this road trip as the time when things really started to turn, much the way it did last year when the Padres went to the East Coast. Standing in the Padres' way starting tonight are the Miami Marlins, who, if you don't pay attention to baseball, this may surprise you. They are hot. They are drawing fans for them to their stadium. This is not quite like playing the Rockies or like playing the Nationals. The Marlins are a tough out.
They are, and they get outs. So June 22nd, I believe, is when things really turned around. I think the beginning of June, shortly after they left San Diego, they got better, but like they were like 15 under, and they are now 46-52, and they have the best bullpen in the league since June 22nd. They're hitting better, a little like the Padres, like, okay, now you're averaging a homer a game, whereas before you're averaging 3/4 of a homer a game. So it's not like they're tearing the cover off the ball. It really is the pitching. They do have some dangerous players. They do have some dangerous pitchers. I don't historically. There were some really nice games last year. It was when Jackson Merrill was on his big tear. The Padres went 19-3 over a 22-game span. It was a good time, but like they also gave one away here. And that's my thought is like, you always come here. Rarely are the Marlins good. And you walk away a little disappointed from the Marlins. They still find this is a tough place for the Padres to play, I guess is my point. And for some reason over the years, even when the Padres are good and the Marlins aren't. I think this is a really, it's big because they're all big now, but I just feel like it's a dangerous series, man.
It is. The Marlins are 9-7 in July after going 14-12 in June. They're still 6 games under 500, third place in the NL East. They're not catching anybody atop their division there, but again, this ain't the Nationals, man.
And it could be a much different team than you would face if you got them a week or 10 days from now, because they still are absolutely putting out the signals that they are going to be sellers. So
yep, absolutely.
Like that's kind of sad, but go on.
A quick look at the pitching matchups. Randy Vasquez pitching tonight, Monday, against Yuri Perez. Randy Vasquez allowed 3 runs in 6 1/3 innings against the Marlins here in May, but he threw or had a season high 5 strikeouts. Yuri Perez, 22 years old, strikes out a lot of guys. Coming back from Tommy John surgery, has his first ever appearance against the Padres, but a good young pitcher.
I mean, really good pitcher. I think 1 run in his last 3 starts, and it's not like those were 3 innings. It's 20-something innings or whatever, and and a lot of strikeouts, like you said. The kid's pretty good.
Yep. Is Tuesday still TBA, Kev, for the Padres?
It is, and there's a lot of possibilities. I'd be shocked if it's not Ryan Bergert, who has shown himself, right? This isn't a time to be experimenting. I think the Padres were thinking they were going to bring up perhaps Baez last time, perhaps it could be Kolek this time, who is also proved himself. But Ryan Bergert is giving you a solid 5, and I would think it would be him.
Right. It's interesting. Jeff Sanders has this note today. Ryan Bergert, Stephen Kolek, and Matt Waldron. None of those 3 pitched over the weekend for El Paso. Neither did Henry Baez, the guy who you just mentioned. All those guys are on the 40-man roster. All those guys, in theory, could pitch Tuesday.
Yep. And, so I honestly, I don't know. I really did think it was going to be Bergert all along. And, but when he left, it was like, oh, yeah, he'll be the guy afterward is what I was hearing. I don't know if it will be him.
Right. Here's an interesting small sample size stat. Edward Cabrera, who's pitching for the Marlins on Tuesday. Edward Cabrera has started 2 games against the Padres, has not allowed a run ever against the Padres in 11 innings, including 7 great innings and a no decision a year ago. Then we go to Wednesday. This is appointment television, I think. Early morning game for us out here on the West Coast. Dylan Cease, Sandy Alcantara. Matchup between 2 very good pitchers having very mediocre years. Cease is 3-9 with an ERA of 4.5. Sandy is 4-9 with an ERA in the 7s, Kevin. This guy won the Cy Young in 2022. It's an ERA in the 7s. 8.6 in his last 4 starts. Padres were very good against him last time they faced him. Curious to see if this guy's cooked or what the deal is.
Yeah, gosh, from afar, I thought that I heard something about him pitching better, and maybe he did, but certainly recently that has not been the case. Well, I mean, maybe better is relative, right? Like you can when you've got an ERA that high, your ERA could go down if you go 6 innings, which he does a fair amount, but you can give up 4 or 5 runs in 6 innings and have your ERA go down. I still heard he was a trade candidate recently. Look, dangerous, a dangerous series. Good pitchers can rise up, find something in them, and Sandy is a good pitcher.
Sandy is a very good pitcher and somebody who, would be willing to give the benefit of the doubt to, I think, simply because his career numbers are so good. Marlins are an interesting team. Kevin, we try to talk mostly about the Padres on here. We could talk for 4 hours a day and probably not touch on all of the topics. But today, let's take a little left turn. What the hell is going on with the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, one of their big guys, and they're big guy dependent, though they've certainly got more production from the bottom of their lineup than in recent years, and than that the Padres have. But Mookie Betts not have a very good year. Nope. Pitching, that's an old story. That's why I didn't start there. Everyone knows what's going on with their pitching. They're all the things that the Dodgers do so well, and I'm obviously not following them in the way that I am the Padres. They're not doing recently. Just got swept, season series swept, and I can't believe it. It's been, why don't I remember the year? But like several years since they had a season, they were swept in a season, like a remarkable number of years, I think. And the Brewers just finished a series sweep and a season sweep all recently, just really in a skid. I still think, and I don't know what you think, and it's hard to exclude bias or like what we've learned over the last decade or the last several years, where just when the Dodgers look like they're not going to be good, or that they're vulnerable, I should say, they're not, right? So I just don't buy they're not going to win this division. I don't buy it.
No. Now they're only up 3.5 games on the Padres. Dodgers have lost 8 of 10 and 3 in a row, 58 and 42. So they've played 100 games, one more game than the Padres. That's sort of my thought too, Kevin. Our Tom Krasovic had a column today about what the Brewers are doing that seems to really give the Dodgers fits. And he settled on a lot of it was high velocity stuff. The pitchers who bring it, the Dodgers really struggled. The Dodgers' good players really, really struggled. If you look at, I believe it was Betts and Freeman and Pages had something like 3 total hits in 6 games against the Brewers. But I'm inclined to believe that that's not necessarily a cheat code to how to beat the Dodgers. I'm inclined to believe that the Dodgers will get some good players back because it's inevitable. and that they will be. I mean, I still think they're the scariest team in baseball. If I was in Las Vegas and you said, Ryan, you got to bet $5 on who's going to win the World Series, they're probably the favorites, right? They're probably who I'd bet on, simply because there's so much expensive talent not playing right now. You would have to think that when they come back, the Dodgers might take off.
Yeah, and again, the experience we all have is that's what happens, right? And look, I don't cover them, so I don't know what's going on in the clubhouse entirely with injuries or things that are nagging certain guys. I saw that Freeman left with a sore wrist. He's, look, the guy is 35 already, or about to be 36 maybe. Like, you don't know what's happening. In no way did I just predict that Freddie Freeman is breaking down. I'm just saying, like, there's been a lot of things recently. The guy's tough as heck, but like, you just don't know. But I find it, they're just too deep with real talent and the pitching, and then what they might do at the trade deadline. So I just don't buy that they are vulnerable enough at this point. That said, hey, go Padres, because I'll tell you what, I've seen an awful lot of times when the Dodgers have had skids, and the Padres don't take advantage here in recent years.
Right. The beauty and the frustrating part about baseball, Kevin, is that the best team doesn't always win the World Series. It's a long season. It's about who is hot. It's about who, obviously has the easier path that makes life a lot easier if you're trying to win a World Series. But,
over 162 games, the Dodgers are the team, though. That's right. They're built for. They're obviously built if everyone's healthy for a playoff run, but it's hard to overcome all that over 162 games. That's all. This has, to me, regular season doesn't have very much to do with the postseason. So yes, I find it. I still say that they are, man, I don't know if I'd wager as much as you. You said what, $5? Wow. I don't know if I'd wager that much, Ryan, but I would be with you betting on the Dodgers.
Yep. To me, the most interesting story as we head into the trade deadline here, which is midweek next week, correct? Is
31. Yeah.
Yeah. Is what is going on right now in the National League West. Padres took 2 of 3 from the Nationals. The Giants got swept in Toronto. The Giants have lost 5 in a row, 6 of their last 10. They're now 2.5 games behind the Padres. And sneaking up on the Giants right now are the Diamondbacks, who have won 4 straight, and they're now 500. So we thought, heading into the break at least, the Diamondbacks were for sure going to be sellers, and the Giants were probably going to be buyers. Well, the Giants and Diamondbacks are now separated by exactly 2 games. And we've seen both teams, Kevin. If it were me, I think the Diamondbacks are a better team. I think that the Diamondbacks, I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I think they're better than the Giants.
I would agree in that the Diamondbacks, it's hard though, man. They need a couple relievers. Otherwise, that offense just doesn't matter probably, and especially when you're talking about crunch time and playoff time. So I would agree with you, but only because I just have never been impressed by the Giants, but they have the better pitching staff. Whoa, hey, there I go in my camera. They have the better pitching staff, the Giants, and so it sort of surprises me that I'm going with the Diamondbacks. But yes, their offense is just really super impressive, and they've got some really good players that I like. I happen to like very much. Not that what I like matters. I just don't know that the Giants, I never thought the Giants had staying power. The only reason I was reluctant to say it is that there've been a couple of times in the past where I didn't think the Giants had staying power, and they, like 2021 when they won 106 games or whatever. And I thought, well, maybe they've got the mirrors and the, whatever. But kudos to them for going and getting Devers, but they just don't have a very good team, I don't think. But they do have good pitching. So I'm with you. Fascinating.
Yep. If the Giants ever decided that they wanted to sell, Robbie Ray is a guy who I would take in my rotation any day. When he's healthy, he's very, very good. He's proving that this year.
Yeah, I just don't see how you went and got Devers and you aren't all in here for this season.
Absolutely. Kevin, I put you on the spot at the end of every episode. Today is no different. Tell me about Kyle Stowers. What do we know about him? He's a Marlin. He's an all-star. He's a San Diego guy.
Seemed like a nice guy. I don't really know much about him, but when I talk about the kind of guy, what was it, Jake Berger last year? When I talk about the kind of guy the Marlins have, that you could look back on the series and go, ah. So I'll guarantee you that Stowers is, if not the guy, one of the guys they are focusing on in this series, which they did last year for Berger, and still somehow gave him some pitches to hit because these guys aren't robots. Yeah, good young player. Marlins always have him. What will they do with that guy? How long will they keep him? That's the question. But I honestly, look, I saw him in the All-Star game, the home run. What is it? Swing off. And I really haven't seen much of him, except that I do remember that it's like, oh yeah, oh wait, San Diego guy. Wow.
Yep. El Cajon guy went to Christian, then went to Stanford, was a Baltimore Oriole before he got traded to the Marlins at last year's trade deadline. Kevin, he plays left field. Kevin, he hits the ball a long way.
Yeah, the
Nothing
Padres
San Diego likes more than other San Diegans.
Padres have a history with the Marlins. Yeah, I don't know that that's the guy the Marlins are going to unload,
right.
but it seems like a good one. It seems like a good one for the Padres. I just don't know, man. Just don't know if that's the guy that the Marlins are going to unload.
Yeah, no, he's controllable and cheap and very, very good. He's a guy you build around instead of a guy you trade at the deadline. But these are the Marlins, so who knows?
Exactly. I'll be fascinated. I really think the Padres are going to have something in store for us that is shocking, and it could be that someone that's on this team and in the lineup regularly is not going to be here because they don't have a lot of money, and I just don't know that that's a fit. Then I think you're trading almost veteran for veteran with some prospects, and I don't know that fits for the Marlins. But hey, maybe the Marlins want some of the one or two of the Padres controllable pitchers. I'm trying not to name names here, but like a young starter, or they want one of the Padres has some good young relievers and starters in the minors, and maybe that does get a deal done.
Yep, maybe the Padres could add to their outfield mix by subtracting from the right side of their infield. Is that something you're?
It could be. Yeah. It could be. I don't like to get into that without solid stuff. If I say something around the trade deadline, it's not a rumor. It's something that's being talked about, and is down the road a little bit. But yes, they have some salary they can basically swap if they're looking for an established right-handed bat.
Yep. Kevin, you hate the trade deadline, don't you?
Just all that it builds up, and then August 1st, we get to find out whether that guy helped. And I'm just telling you, half the time, it's not a big deal, and a good portion of the time, it didn't help you.
Right. No, that's a great point. Kevin, we're up against.
Now, last year there was a serious need at the bullpen, and the Padres addressed it. I thought it was AJ Preller's best trade deadline. So it can, but just all the and then did it really make a difference? It did for the 21 Braves, did for the Padres last year until they blew it in the National League Division Series. So it can be a big deal.
Right. Absolutely. Kevin, we're up against it time-wise, so we got to go. That'll do it for this episode of the Hot Lava Podcast. Padres Marlins 3-game series starting tonight in Miami. For Kevin Acee, I'm Ryan Finley. We'll see you next time.